So, yesterday I tested out the colors on the stabilizer, and you've got, basically it's a dark gray and a light gray. It's kind of what, I don't know where they get growl violet from, but I like the colors. The colors look cool. And these were done freehand. So the demarcation, I just drew it, I just painted it with the airbrush. Now, the question is that the way it should be? All the pictures I see, I can't tell if they're tighter or not. So what I might do is do it all freehand because it's easier and quicker, and then I can go back if I want to and adjust them. I also played around with modeling a little bit. So there's the rudder and fin, and you can see that I've added little models with the, in this case, the lighter gray color. And it's going to be a mix. This model's going to be a mix of this, the darker color, and maybe even a little bit of green, although I'm not sure. So let's put on a few of these. I ended up using this stuff, which is beautiful. I've never used it before. It comes out ready to spray. The color is nice. This is the lighter color. And then I'm using this color, which is like a tank gray. It's called, just says German gray, for the darker color. And the combination looks pretty good. When you put them on, they don't look much different. But then when they dry, they look really nice. So this stuff seems to work really well. And I'm glad about that. The only problem is you can't get extra back into the, I'm going to take off this tip. You can't get extra back into the container. I haven't figured out how to do it yet. So I just put a few drops at a time, and then that is more than enough. And then it's easy to put more in. And granted, I'm going to use a lot of this because there's a lot of airplane to cover. But we'll just take it slow and just kind of go through the process and see if we can make this look good. So let's look on the back of the fuselage here. I'm going to start by getting a little dark color here. And I'm going to just kind of say there's a demarcation. And I'm going to make the line be about like that. Again, it doesn't matter quite so much because we're going to do some touch-up, and we're going to have mottling coming down here. Oops. There's going to be mottling that's going to come down here on the side at some point to make it look, these are going to be coming down. So I'm just sort of doing this by eye, and it looks fine. I'll put another batch of it over here, kind of just trying to give myself an edge here. And then filling it in. And you can see, well, to kind of make sure it's relatively even on either side. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I do want to sort of make it relatively even. And let's see, up front, what are we going to do up front here? I would say we'll put some color about here. I gotta let my compressor kind of run so that it kind of, when it's kind of trying to pick up speed, it sort of runs very, very, it's working, but you gotta wait for it to sort of catch up a little bit. I apologize again if you can't see all of this that's going on, but just trying to give you the idea of what's happening. I'm making sure that my Windows framing is covered. And I got a little bit of overspray on the underside here, which is good, just the way it's supposed to be, all along the windows. So that's good. And do we want anything on the front? Probably not. We'll just let the front be, well, I'll put a little bit of something here just to sort of give it a little bit of a tip that is a different color. Okay, so that is sort of an initial thing, how that's going. Do the same thing with the cells. I'm gonna let's make a straight line through here and then kind of bring it around like that, and let's go an oblong line kind of through here, and then that will translate into just basically a line along here. And the closer you put the airbrush to the model, the tighter your little lines will be. And again, what I got to do is figure out, do I want this to be a more solid line on either side, or do I want it to be relatively, cloudy on the interim here? Because it sort of depends on how you think it should go. And right now I'm not 100% sure. So we may as well, let's see, how much of this color do we have left? We may as well use it till it's empty. It's almost empty. Let's put another shot on the wing. And this is actually really fun to do. It really makes you feel like you're painting the real thing. And I'm just doing it by eye because I'm basing it on all the pictures I've seen of what it kind of looked like and what the little demarcations were. And the good thing about airbrushing is you can always go back and fix stuff. You can always decide that something isn't quite right, or you don't like that pattern, you can always change it. Okay. Right here where the wing roots are, I think that's gonna be colored. I think probably up to the fillet. That'll be covered, and the fillet will stay blue, and then it'll get camouflage on the other side. So now, while we're sitting here and we got a little color, why don't we show you a little bit of this mottling effect? So this thing is at a good pressure, and you're just doing kind of random models. You don't want to be too regular. And I suspect this would have been a mechanic or somebody with a gun. And they would have made these lines, and they're going to be different depending on Hans or Franz is doing it. At least that's my impression. And they go across the board in terms of what they look like. There isn't a right or wrong way. I mean, I've seen they look like, they just looks like graffiti on the side of I-5. I've seen them where they look very, very dilute. And less is more. You can put very little pressure on this by pulling back a little and just barely bring it out. And that doesn't matter because what you can do is build it up very slowly to what you want. So that doesn't look too bad to me. Looks similar to this side. If anything, this side might need a couple more little shots. Maybe it's a little darker here. I'm going to put some other color on there too. Oh, I'm going to plumb out, which is good. Okay, I'm out. So now, let's go ahead and give her the old, let's put the darker color on so you can see what that looks like. And we'll even put some mottling on there as well. Just to, you know, complete it. By the way, never clean your airbrush over your airplane or your tank or your boat, because boy, if you spill stuff, you're going to be very, very upset, like I just did there. I did it on purpose to show you what not to do. You know, I was just an idiot. So let's try this darker color. I have stirred this up. It should be ready to roll. And this is the color I'm having for the darker model. Put a little bit there. Not sure if I'll run out yet or not. Okay, give it a little spray. Make sure you get rid of the old color. There, the new color's coming through. And we will start. Let's see if my camera's picking things up. Yeah, we'll start back here. And all you're doing is bring this color along. Now fill it in. And any light overspray onto the light blue doesn't matter. We can even come back and hit it with some light blue. In fact, I have some overspray under the tail. I have some overspray under the tail that I could show you. That needs to be fixed. But right now we're okay. But there's an example of that side. And notice this side. Oops. This side, I have this wavy pattern over here. And you know, it's flatter on the other side, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be absolutely symmetrical. Well, maybe I'll do a little bit better. Even it out a little bit. But that looks cool. Now let's do the top here. Right across the windows. Right across the windows. And here we'll this has to go, it looks like, under here. Get that window all figured out. That looks pretty cool. It's all looking pretty cool. I might, for instance, here, maybe give this a little extra shot because it looks a little bit light, but we'll see. And let's go ahead and finish off this front part. Man, I got the lighting all wrong in order to see anything. Both for you and for me. I'm not a cinematographer. Steve Spielberg. You're not gonna have any worries from me. Where do I have to go? And this come down like that. Okay. So got that tip on there. That's all right. So now I'm going to do, let's make sure I got paint in here. I do. Let's try a little mottling with the darker color on the thing up here. Well, yeah, let's try some up here. Just see how it looks. See, it's a little bit not quite as nice because it's probably not quite as thin. I can tell because I got to open up the. I could thin it some. Not too bad. And get a little closer. That doesn't look too shabby. Darker and lighter. Let's do the other side. Oops, let's break stuff. Let's see, can I move this? A little better. Let's try it. And I gotta get closer. I mean, I could thin out the paint a little bit. Because if you notice, it sort of spritzes a little bit more than the other paint. It's probably because it's a little thick, at least thicker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to thin it a little bit with some alcohol. See if we can get it to flow a little better and be a little bit, you know, if it's a little thinner, it'll take less pressure to make it spray, and it'll allow the little thin needle that I have in here to do its job. So maybe this will be a little bit, let's see if I fix anything. We'll know. A little better. I do like the combination of these two grays. I do like them. Seems the way I would do it anyway. I know my arm is in the way of seeing anything, but I might just give that a rest. You don't want it to be too regular. I mean, granted, you can do whatever you want, because if you were the mechanic or the Batman or the, I think they called them crows, black men, crows they were referring to. You know, they'd be doing this, and they wouldn't be sitting there, you know, being super careful. They're just going to sort of do it as they see fit. So you know, it's not terrible. Not terrible at all. So I'm just going to continue doing that, and then I'll come back and model with the other color, and we'll see if we like what we see. And if you don't, worst case scenario, you respray. You respray with the light blue. Here's the spot I was going to tell you about with light blue, is I oversprayed it when I did the stabilizer. And now I'm going to take out with a little bit of light blue. But overall, it's looking pretty good. Less is more, because you can always build stuff up. Anyway, I think that gives you a feel for what I'm doing and what we're trying to achieve. And so what I'm going to do now is complete this, touch things up, get all the wings done, and we will see how it goes. But I think it's looking the way I wanted it to look. I'll put it that way. I don't know if it's terribly accurate, but based on the pictures I've seen, these things range from being strong to being really diffuse. I'm probably going to diffuse some of this down a little bit more. It's a lot of work to do. Just very slow and methodical, but I think it's going to work out really, really well. I'm excited to have it all done. All right, so here we go. This is it, mottled, and yeah, it looks pretty neat. I think it's the two-color mottled on the sides, and they go down kind of randomly, and you know, I think it looks okay. I think it looks really good. It looks so much better than what was in the kit. I've had people ask, you know, why do you do this? And because the model is a paper model, and that's very true. But you got to remember that if you're not talented, or if you don't like the sort of the artwork that comes with the model, some of these are really gaudy and nasty, and this one was one of them. But anyway, now what I need your help with is, do I need a stronger demarcation line? Should I, between my light gray and my dark gray, have almost like tape between them so there's an absolute sharp line? Or should they remain kind of, where's a good place to, over here is pretty good. Should they remain kind of hazy like this and just freehand? I don't think it looks bad. And I look at pictures of the real airplane, I go back and forth. Some of them look really obvious. The other thing is, do you think the contrast is enough? Should I darken the gray, the darker gray? I'm not sure. I do like the mottling though. The mottling looks pretty good with some crosses on there, a nice swastika on here, so maybe some bands on the back, brightly colored bands, and some numbers and letters. It's gonna look really cool. My nacelles are good. So overall, I'm gonna say, you know, this is a win. And as Derek Berry in Script Garage says, bleep bloop it down in the comments below. Do you think that the contrast is there, and do you think they should be harder lines between the colors. Otherwise, you know, I'm thinking it looks pretty good. Can't wait to start putting markings on it. And this whole process didn't take more than a total of maybe an hour. So it wasn't like it was super onerous. And the fact that it was all done freehand because it's such a large scale, it makes it even nicer. So anyway, here you go. We're getting there. It's going to look super, super cool when we start putting markings on it. Thanks for watching.